Hmm. Well,
Hi, I'm sorry I wasn't able to take your call.
I'm not going to leave you a message. We'll try this again. M?
Yeah.
You know what I don't do anymore? I don't use contact lists. I don't need Google knowing who I'm talking to. All it means is I gotta go. Fuck, I hope that's M. Yeah, 7671. That's definitely M. That's definitely M. M? Seriously, that's what the last 5 seconds of my life were like. But the reason I was calling you back is I did something that I didn't think I'd have to admit to you, but now I have to admit it to you. I recorded our conversation.
Okay.
And I got to be honest, Em, it's a terrific conversation. I mean, in more ways than I can even express, because it, I think, confronts the issue of mortality and family dynamic. And we don't really divulge anything personal, but we are very personally revealing. I don't know how to describe it, but here's my point. My 500th episode for my podcast is my next one. And I want to release our conversation as that episode.
That's fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, because I also am recording us right now as the introduction to that episode so that everyone knows that you're agreeable.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I really think it was meaningful. It means a lot to me.
Sure.
Well then.
Yeah, do it.
I appreciate you.
All right, you too.
Bye, Em.
Bye.
And with nothing further to add, episode 500 of It's All My Fault. And for once, I would say you might not want to listen in double time. I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe speed. Well, you'll figure it out.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
You sick?
How are you?
I'm fine. I mean, you know, as my health and general state of being go, but I'm very, 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 very concerned about Dad.
When have you seen him last?
I don't know, yesterday or the day before, but I mean, I see him. If I don't see him today, I'll see him tomorrow, kind of thing. It's been that way for at least a week.
Yeah.
I just stopped by to see if they need anything, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, Dad never needs anything, but I have helped him with some yard work and some shit like that was getting behind. It's just, you know, he's only going to ask for help when alternatives are unavailable.
Yeah, I understand. I know.
But my concern for him, Emily, is some weird fucking shit in my dream life and in my what I'll only call mystical fucking side. You got to understand that if I hadn't been blown away by some things in the past decade in my sort of expansion of who I am, none of this would resonate. But since all of this seems to be following a pattern that I'm expecting, if anything, I'm remembering it, I just want to let you know that the whole episode with Dad going in for elective surgeries, the second one being a surgery that would reveal something drastic, is something I've expected from Dad for 20 years. And I've always known Mom was going to outlive Dad. And I've always known that I was going to be where Mom is when Mom passes, like at their house. I always just thought I was going to move in with Mom to help her get through the end of her life, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I've always expected Dad to die in a hospital after going in there, I think in an ambulance, but it's in an emergency capacity and never coming back out.
Yeah.
And so I was terrified the last one was the one. And yet if I'm remembering it all right, what is truly, what I never could put together as a kid was the idea that Dad would get plastic surgery. Like, it just didn't make sense to me that he would ever get plastic surgery. When I say kid, I mean like my teens and 20s. I started having these repetitive dreams about scenarios that I would wake up with almost as if I had experienced them. And these hospital scenes with the doctors and Dad are exactly what we were going through at Denver General together, or whatever that hospital's called. As I'm saying all this shit, I'm shaking to you because I know that your reflexive attitude toward me should be bullshit, really. But I wouldn't be sharing this stuff with you if I didn't think Dad's lifespan right now is very short. And if he makes it past March, I'm all wrong, and I'm fucking excited that I am, because part of this is I'll never play tennis with Dad again. You know what I mean? Like, losing Dad's can be a huge loss to me. And I don't know that everyone in the family understands that. But there have been a couple of my most important moments in life are with Dad. And there's some unresolved shit too, you know? And
I do know.
My point is, everyone's going to process this differently. But I don't want you to lose the time that's still here, because it might not be much. It really might. This is not going to be good. I can promise you that.
Well, I can't say that I have the same spiritual premonition of this all, but scientifically, I mean, it's not good.
I know.
I think it's not. It's awful. You know, Dad is as stoic and stubborn and persistent as he is, and committed to kind of keeping himself active and involved. I can't think of a worse person to have this happen to.
Well,
he's not prepared to be a sick person. And, I was talking to Mom the other day. This is not like anything else he's been through, where he gets medical attention, and then he, through his own persistence, makes himself better. Yeah.
No, that option's not available.
This is something where the medical attention is going to make him worse.
there's a little bit of peace to be had here, in the sense that what Dad signed up for down here was to be the healthiest possible version of himself until he wasn't. Unfortunately, this is going to be an awful end for Mom. And it's not going to be good for Dad either. Don't get me wrong. Everything you're saying is spot on, and it's 100% accurate. And the worst part of it is he's going to become even more isolated in this process from all of us.
I know.
And it's the one time, if ever he could lean out for support, we're all here just ready to do everything. But he's going to have to process it internally, and that is just something he's not going to be able to do.
Yeah. I think this is, even though he had 6 weeks to think that this may be coming.
Yeah, no, that's just time when he was pretending maybe it's not.
Right.
That's what and frankly, I was okay with that. I was like, you know what? Take the delusional 4 weeks you can still have to say maybe it's not. Because you won't have that option after this.
Yeah. But I mean, we all know how Dad is. We all know how introspective and
isolated. He's isolated. He's alone. He is a loner. Yeah. He is a unique island in a fucking ocean filled with just neglect, almost. Like, he won't even accept the idea that there are people who could make this easier for him.
But he will. I've talked to Jim about this a lot. I've talked to Mom about it.
Okay, I've talked to nobody about it, so I'm sorry for thrusting all this on you.
No, it's fine. It's a lot. It's a lot to process, because, all you want to do is
make it easier.
Feel better, but you can't, and he doesn't. With me at least, talking about it and talking about what do you think you will need, what can we do, is going to make it.
Right. It's like the absolute worst question you can even ask.
Yeah.
It's
what he needs is little bursts of pretending this isn't happening.
Well, but then I text him, hey, how'd the battle with the wall go in your comeback tennis career? And and he texts back something about the yard or whatever. I mean, it's like I try every approach I can, from subtle to overt, from comical to serious to playful to dismissive, and none of them work. None of them. I have
just been calling him and leaving him messages and texting him. Like today, I texted him and said, "I'm thinking of you." And
I've done this too, Em. I'm doing it guerrilla style.
I think, John, I think it's going to get bad and painful and really difficult really quickly. And at that point, it's all going to come collapsing down for him. The walls he's put up aren't going to support him anymore.
Yeah.
And that's when he'll I think, be happy to have us there and need us there.
Okay.
And the doctors he's going to be dealing with are going to drill into him that he's got to have a support system.
Well,
that he can't do it alone.
I want you to know that as it sits from my vantage point, you have to take lead on that. Because Lily,
I understand that.
What's that?
I understand.
You understand what I'm saying, right? Mom can't handle that burden. I'm the wrong person, and you're the right one. But
I have talked to Mom about how she needs to take care of herself.
So have I. And I've 100% told Mom I'm there for her more than I'm there for Dad, because her situation is going to be forced upon her in ways she's not even anticipating.
Yep. And I have, she knows. I think she understands that she needs support.
Yeah, she's accepting of that way more than anybody else in the family.
Yeah. So, and I think she's so exhausted mentally and physically after all of the antibiotic stuff.
Yeah, playing nursemaid, yeah.
She needs to be done with that stuff. But we can't do anything until he has a conversation with an oncologist, which, as far as I understand, has not happened.
Well, and if that's not imminent this week, then it's certainly imminent this month.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this scan today
just to be clear, hold on, because I don't really know this stuff, but just to be clear, he's still going through we're gathering evidence phase, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, he has cancer.
Right. It's a question of to what extent.
Yes, and it could be
systemic.
It could be. It could be dire, and who knows? I don't know. She told me yesterday that they have told him they need to get him in for radiation,
which sounds like an awfully abrupt care recommendation, unless they know that's a step they're 6 weeks now behind on, or whatever, right? Doesn't that sound?
Well, yeah, because they don't even know. Mom and Dad don't even know what for. Where is it? Where's the radiation aimed?
Right.
Like, I told Mom, I said, at some point you guys need to be more forceful and say we need more information.
Yeah. And are you going to these consultations with them, or is this them alone?
I have went to his biopsy with them. He sometimes will kind of share information and sometimes doesn't. He goes into the bedroom at their house on the phone.
I know.
And has secret conversations.
I know, as if to hide from Mom. I mean, I get it. He's as lone as it gets.
And it's not a sweet, married for 60 years romantic, I want to protect my wife from what's going on. It's just him being weird.
Yeah, no, it is. I agree.
And I get it. I mean, my God, I get it. He doesn't have any fucking idea how to accept what's being told to him on a daily basis at this point.
Yeah, his whole world's crumbling. I know, but here's the only but that I have in this entire situation is Mom's been nothing but exactly what he needed and asked for. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand the exclusion membrane there, especially at this point.
I know, but I believe that will pass in the next couple.
It has to, right? It has to.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then he's the devil. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. I mean, he can't do this alone. I've talked to Mom. I've talked to her about, she's the worst driver ever.
I couldn't agree more. I told her today that I might need to start driving when we go places.
Yeah. No, well, and I told her, I said, I know you're already worried about bad weather. I said, I'm the chauffeur. I can take care of it. And I think, John, if you and I need to, I'm fine trading off kind of living in their basement or whatever.
Hey, if I need to move in there today, I've been preparing for this for 10 years, for fuck's sake. I am ready. I mean,
yeah,
but I don't want to move in with the two of them because then all of a sudden there's not enough room.
No, and that is a long ways off.
I hope. Yeah, I agree with you. But my point is, your burden there is not even like, I am so ready for that role. Either one of them. I mean, to be honest. So
I'll say it's many steps away.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, but it might not be for Mom. Mom might need to go take a week at the cabin if she gets knee deep in the shit, and one of us does need to move into that basement and take care of Dad. I could see that situation.
She won't do it, but I've talked to her about it. I've tried to get her away for a couple days.
I've tried to get her away for an afternoon. I mean,
yeah.
I'll take over the whole syringe shit for you for the day. Go do your thing. Go just sit in the mall, for fuck's sake.
I know.
But she's duty bound, Em. She's being a really good wife here. If I had to give her credit for anything, she's been phenomenal through all this.
But this is Mom. Mom is ultimately a caretaker.
Yeah, she rises to the challenge of those in need. She just does.
Yeah, that's
except for herself.
Her life's purpose is to care for others.
Yep. And she fills the role as needed and has done so exceptionally. But she needs to take care of herself too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, between us, we'll make sure that happens. But, Jim keeps asking me, do you need to just go over there? And my answer is no. Like, they don't.
Hey, I'm doing plenty of that. I'm dropping by. I stay for a minute or two when I can see that I'm not needed. I stay for 20 minutes if there's something I can do. I stay for the afternoon if they really need help. And I plan something for tomorrow if they really have a project. Otherwise, I leave them alone. But I check in 2 days later to make sure that that's still the story we're going through.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, I think.
And I'm on my bike, Em, so it's always just a drop-in casual, hey, what's up? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And usually I try to time it during a football game so that if I have to sit down, I can watch football.
Yeah. Well, and that's what Dad wants.
I know, and honestly, Dad lights up a little bit with those visits. Dad likes those little drop-in visits. He does. That's his thing.
I know.
He gets a little more buoyant, I'll say.
Yeah. But he doesn't want drop-in visits of people weepy-eyed saying...
No, with sympathy cards and a bunch of balloons. No, fuck. Obviously not. If anything, I'm going to bring him a restrung racket and ask him if he thinks the tension's right.
Yeah.
So, my point is, I try everything I can think of to give him the opportunity to say whatever he needs. And that can be zero. From here to the end. He can say zero to me. As long as he knows he could have said anything to me, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've kind of, almost joked about it or talked about it, that Noel has really never thought he was going to die.
Yeah, no, he's believed he was immortal for sure.
And that was never more evident than just this last few weeks, or I guess a couple months. I think he's scared shitless. He's truly never given any thought to his life ending and what that will be like. And he's going to end up very, very sick, whether it's sick from treatment or sick because he doesn't want treatment.
Yep.
He's going to end up very sick.
The only thing you can say for him is you hope it's not long, because the ending in this capacity in our medical system is one of just deterioration until you die.
Yeah.
And it's the same way you and I are going, Em, if we're being frank. This is the way most people go.
Yeah.
And yet Dad has never, ever, in at least any kind of capacity I've seen, both hidden and in view, shown any of that vulnerability that this is how we all go.
No.
He's always thought, except for me, I'm going to beat the odds.
Yeah.
Well, we don't. And I think, honestly, if I'm being personal just at our age and place in life, this is giving me a humble look at what I should be, at least not ignoring or staving off with this sort of dissociation, like maybe I will beat the odds. Nope. This is what we all succumb to. Our bodies are built to break down.
Yep.
So, seeing that happen, look how lucky we've been, Em, with health in our family, for fuck's sake. You're probably the one person who's had the worst dealt hand of all.
Yeah.
So, and for that to be the case, that's unbelievably lucky.
Yeah.
And I consider myself the most fortunate of all for all the abuse I put my body through and still am able to get up and be healthy. It's just disregard I no longer see as callous as I used to, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
well, I think, it's interesting because Mom is kind of, I think she went through the acceptance phase because she's got such a high anxiety. I think
she's processed this 1,000 times. You're right about that.
Yeah. As soon as they said they've spotted something, in August, I think she accepted it.
Her radar was there. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Pretty solid. And she's had cancer. She does have some empathy for the shock of a diagnosis and not knowing how much it's going to impact you and if you're going to survive it. She has herself been through that.
It just breaks my heart further that she has that kind of episode in her past, and Dad won't even tap into the empathy that's there. You know what I mean? It's just it's just heartbreaking.
I don't even know if he remembers she had cancer.
Fair enough. But the whole situation breaks my heart. It's broken my heart since the day they sat us down in the fucking living room and told us they were separating, and then didn't.
Yeah.
But that's another story completely.
Well, I 100% have not processed this. I'm kind of taking one day at a time because I don't have information. The information is coming in weird ways. Yeah. Kind of secretly from Mom and whispers.
Yeah. Agreed. It's all cloaked and daggered. I agree. And to no one's benefit.
Yeah.
And yet you and I sit here as the receivers of popcorn nuggets of just what? Huh? When? And what do? We just say, okay.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. I just want to say one more thing about I honestly want to have a conversation with Dad where I tell him all the things that I really respect about him, which there are a bunch. But B, that I think he really got the short end of the stick, even with the whole Phyllis thing being his fault. Because do you know Mom didn't forgive Dad until 4 or 5 years ago? Didn't flat out say, I forgive you. And when I found that out, I told her, we're going, that is unacceptable. We were at the cabin, for fuck's sake, together. And I was just like, how can that be, Mom? This is 30 years later. Do you understand how unfair that is? That is the worst thing I've ever heard. And I've never talked to Dad about it because I don't think it's my right. But at this point, I want him to know that I'm incredibly impressed that with that kind of, with what Mom can do to hold a grudge, that his ability to just, I mean, I know he closed up and turned into a clam. Nobody can get inside, but his ability to stay the course and do what he thought was his obligation and responsibility to everyone around him. I mean, it's fucking heroic. And I mean, Mom could be a fucking bitch, you know? And Dad just put up with it. And with no complaints, really, he just shut the fuck up. And I mean, yeah, that was tough. But I totally see why he did it. And for him to have stayed this long, I just want him to know that there's a whole lot of love there that just got missed because people were fucking too uptight to say it's okay. I'm sorry you made a mistake, you know? We'll get over it. It just, there was so much greatness our family could have had that just got missed by a little bit. And some of that, I'm sure Dad feels guilty about, but it wasn't his fault.
Well, I think that's important that you have that conversation with him. I mean, it's important for you. It's important for him.
Well, I made him promise that he'd let me at least tell him how much our friendship has meant sometime between now and October or by Halloween. But don't tell Mom, because I want him to know that in so many ways I respect him more than Mom. And I don't think he believes that.
Well, I think he needs to hear it. I
know. Well, he's been a tough person to talk to, at least for me, my whole life.
Oh, but that's what our family has mastered, is dealing with everything on the surface.
Oh, man, and I've been swimming in the deep end for too long these days.
Yeah.
But unlike you, I'm the flip side of that coin. I feel like I've processed Dad's death since I was a kid. And now that it's all occurring in this sort of mystical, dreamlike sequence, it's going to hit me that what I think I've got a hold of, I don't. And when that happens, I'm going to be a mess. But until then, well, I do feel like at least for one, I was ready for this.
Well, I wasn't. I feel so sad for Dad.
Yeah.
I just feel so sad for him.
Yeah, that's a new feeling for me too.
If Mom got this diagnosis, she would have been expecting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she is planning for doom and gloom. And
Mom's realistic.
She is, and Noel has been
delusional.
He's deluded himself. I mean, this isn't just having to deal with being a sick person who has to depend on others.
Yep.
I mean, he's going to have to depend on us.
Yep.
And other people outside of us.
Yep.
And it's going to be awful. And he's going to be nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
And but he's also going to have to deal with thinking about things that he doesn't want to think about, like what's going to happen with Mom and what is he leaving behind, and
right. And that's one of the other things I kind of wanted to indicate to him, that no matter what Mom needs, I'll always be there for Mom. Like there's no way that Mom doesn't get just as much support and fucking roof repair and yard mowing and whatever else is necessary to make sure Mom's life continues unabated. As much as that's possible, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want him to know that there are people here who are really going to take care of you and Mom. I mean, that's all I really got left. So, fuck. There's no way that I would let go of that responsibility.
Well, and I think, what we need to do is make sure we're always communicating and helping Mom, kind of mentally not get overwhelmed and
Yeah, no, I agree. And everything you've said so far has been directly harmonic with exactly how I'm thinking and feeling, just so you know. Like,
yeah.
I can tell that, at least in this, capacity, I think we're really on the same page.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think we're also two at least slightly different approaches to it. You're obviously way better at listening to doctors than I'll ever be. But, I may actually get Dad to give us a hug someday. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, he will.
I know.
He's gonna take it from us whether he thinks he needs it or not. I also know that the minute we get real with him, he'll break.
I know. But he's been due to break for 40 years. He's been due to break for 40 years. It's just, this is what it took.
I know, but I kind of want to give him however many days or weeks he has before the breaking point, and it comes crashing down, because it will.
Yeah, and I'm fine with playing we can still all be optimistic at it. I mean, I could not be happier to fulfill that role until it absolutely can't be fulfilled.
Yeah.
I will continue being upbeat and positive thinking all the way. And the one thing I will say is, it's really hard not to just, I don't know, there is some really fascinating study about that drug ivermectin going on in China and its possibility for fucking cancer remission. I mean, it's like, you can't even say shit like that, even though it's available.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. I'm all over the map when it comes to fucking thinking of my role in this, but it seems like the only thing I am confident with is thinking about how to support Mom and Dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I really appreciate you talking. I didn't want to get all emotional like this. It's just, these days I can't do it without letting loose.
It is a very awful, shocking, emotional experience to go through. And because I think we've been so lucky, Mom's cancer was, 15, 20 years ago?
And it was a blip on the radar, really. I mean,
it was.
To be unfair to Mom, but, it
was. I mean, it was.
It changed almost nothing.
Not have any recurring issues, so it does not feel like a health crisis.
Yeah.
That this summer was the worst health crisis we've been through, and had this not been discovered, we'd be through it.
Yeah,
and
you're
I'm
right.
sure that Noel's got to be thinking all the time.
Why couldn't my knee fucking heal? Why couldn't my knee fucking heal? Because then I'd be playing tennis right now.
Yeah.
No, I know those thoughts are going through his head. Fuck, I've had that dream with him. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I hope if in any way I can be of help to you, obviously just speak up. Let me know. I won't always be able to know what you're going through.
We are going to need each other, and we're going to have to be open communication all the time.
Yeah, well,
because Mom is trying really hard to respect Dad's wishes right now, which is basically leaving him alone and kind of keeping his secrets.
Yep, agreed.
And if I thought that would go on for more than another week or two, I would insert myself.
Okay. That's good to hear, because I'm not going to be comfortable doing that, but you're right, it would have to be done.
Yeah, and I would do it. I mean...
And let's face it, when it comes to who wears the pants between us, it's obviously you. So, carry on with your bad self.
But I think, they're both processing at their own speed. I think they deserve a chance to figure out how they're going to manage this as a couple. And then we will come in and tell them you don't have to do it all as a couple.
Right, you're not alone. We're here for whatever we can do.
Yeah.
Including saying nothing about it whatsoever, if that's how this is going to go.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I think once the prognosis comes in, which I think will be in the next week or so, we'll have a whole different conversation.
Yeah. If that's not the sobering moment for the entire activities going forward, I don't know what could be.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, it's hard to predict.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like Mia's. Wait, her name's Mia, right?
Yeah.
Sweet. That means I know it, because that's what spit out of my mouth. That's perfect.
Well,
hey, I got a real quick question for you. How about a little levity, or not levity, but okay. If you had to name, like, okay, if you were 8 years old and I said to you, hey, what's the most interesting thing you know right now? You might have told me, I don't know, bookkeeping is the only word with 3 double letters in it, or whatever, right? If I ask you right now, what's the most interesting thing you've learned lately? Like, do you have an answer?
No.
Nobody does. Ask that question to anybody. See if you can get an answer where somebody says, well, actually, seriously. And I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about whatever shit was spit out on ABC News, right? We all learned that. I'm saying something that you personally ran into and thought, well, that's interesting. Wow, that's cool. I'll tell you, I actually have an answer to this. And nobody else I've run into has had an answer. But I recently learned that water not only has memory, but can communicate. Go look up the Australian water freezer woman and just look at what she's done. And it's being replicated across the world. It's fascinating. It's worth at least being able to answer the question, well, yeah, actually, I did learn something interesting. This is fascinating. You'll enjoy it. It's a good tangent to get your brain working. Because what the fuck does that imply? It's fascinating, Em. It's fascinating.
Okay.
Enjoy yourself. And until then, we'll tag team Mom and Dad the best we can. And you can count on me dropping by frequently. I will be there in the next day if I'm not there in the next 2. You know? So don't feel any obligation there. Just stop by when it's convenient and you're in a good mood to say hi.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you calling. I feel somehow like, I don't know why. Maybe it's me avoiding, but I feel like if I drop by, it's different.
Yeah, Em, you're the serious one. I'm the guy that probably spilled my fucking water and need a napkin. We come in with 2 very different vibes, especially to Dad. So, you know, and I think Dad's gotten a lot more used to me just dropping in. He doesn't
exactly.
It doesn't irritate him if I'm there to just watch TV with Mom. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
So, I do think when they see the Subaru pull in, they think, oh, Em's here. What the fuck? What's up?
I feel like that, yeah.
And I hate that that's the division of labor. Well, I don't hate it because I kind of like my role. But let's face it, you're really better at what you do. It's just unfortunate that's kind of the ominous, foreboding presence that you represent. Whereas I represent that silly motherfucker that never got his shit together.
Well, that'll change because we'll both be over there a hell of a lot.
Hey, I'm the one that fixed that downstairs shower drain. That got me more street cred than 40 years of living, I'll tell you that. And that's a job you never want to do, by the way. That one I'll always just take on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I do not ever want to do
that.
No,
you don't even want to know what the job is. You just want to know that you're not involved. All right. Hey, I really appreciate you having a conversation with me. I was kind of all bottled up about this shit.
Yeah, well, don't ever hesitate to call.
Well,
I'm very, very sensitive because I know whether he knows it or not, he can't be around sick people. And so
you mean that's something he just doesn't like?
Huh?
That's just something he doesn't like? That makes him icky?
Well, I'm just saying people with compromised immune systems.
That. No, Em, obviously. We just had this conversation an hour ago and I can't even remember it. So fuck yeah. Always help me out there because listen, I'm sorry, but I just have a different idea of what transmutable diseases are. So you definitely have to rein me in there. I am off the charts wrong when it comes to that shit. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
So I apologize. And as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Right. Sorry for forgetting what we talked about an hour ago, but I won't forget this conversation. This was important. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, hang in there.
You too. And if you need anything, obviously, even if you need someone to come over and walk your dogs because you've been in, or whatever, whatever you could need, I'm happy to oblige.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, you be good to yourself and be good to Jim too. Okay. I'm sure this isn't fun for him.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk really soon.
Okay.
Unfortunately and unfortunately. Okay.
Have some oranges or some apples or some fruit. Okay. Feel better.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.